Hey guys, guess what I just got delivered today? Yes, the veteran Sherman from New York City. Sean shipped it out to me, I can't remember, Friday or Monday. And it looks like it barely made it here. I'm gonna have to do some surgery on this box before I ship it up to probably Chooch next. I don't know for sure, but yeah, I can see the wheel in there. Oh well. Now this reminds me of the Monster a little bit. When any of you guys which have received a Monster, at least when the first Monster I got, the box was pretty flimsy. This thing. Whew, really does weigh a ton, at least in the box. It's kind of awkward to lift it. Now, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm just going to unbox it, and I want to give you my first impressions of build quality. I know you've seen other videos like this, but this will just be my view on things. And I think I'm going to open it up. Just prepare it a little bit for riding, and we'll go from there. Again, when you get a new wheel, don't bother taking the inner box out of the outer box. It's more work, and what's the point, really? Okay, Sean, I can see what you did there to protect the power button, so that's good. And we have the power supply charger. And thanks for remembering to package that. You wouldn't be the first guy who forgot to put a charger back in the box. So you guys, I watched Sean's video today where he kind of wrapped up the summary of his week of ownership of this wheel. And remember how beautiful it looked when he got out of the box? Nothing like that beautiful look of a new wheel. So you're going to see in 4K video what New York City did to this wheel. I gotta tell you guys, this is heavy. You know, the Monsters are damn heavy wheel too, but maybe it's because this is kind of a smaller wheel. It feels heavier than the Monster. It does make me wonder if I would want to take this on any backwoods, you know, where if it fails, I got a 10-mile walk. Man, I would not want to have to carry this out. Whew. Okay, it survived shipping. Cool. Well, let me get it on the table and we'll just take a closer look at it. All right. Whew, it was work to get it up on this table to lift up the stand, but this thing is a beast. Actually, it looks, considering what I saw this wheel get put through, it looks pretty good. I guess New York guys, you didn't really beat it to hell. Really, I mean, considering what I saw this thing going through, it looks in great shape. Let me give you a closer look. First, I wanted to look at this headlamp, which you know, it's obviously it sticks out above the framework, which we all know at this point, and it's easy to replace. But do we really know how much these are going to cost and how easy they're going to be replaced? I suppose I would guess e-wheels better stock these guys. But In this case, it looks like this actually didn't get, this is mounted to this piece, this thin piece of sheet metal that's welded to the frame. This is what got whacked and bent. It doesn't look like the headlamp actually got bent on this part. So in this case, I guess I would take this off maybe and try and rebend this if I wanted to straighten it out. And wow, this is let me give you a closer look at this. Okay, this is where this thing slid on the ground apparently, and it looks like someone took a grinder to this. It's a nice flat section, and it's pretty deep actually. It looks like it's almost going through the tubing, and there's a corresponding one on the other side, a little less severe. I gotta tell you though, this tubing feels incredibly tough. I mean, this is not wimpy tubing that they put on here. So it really is encouraging. Now this tire, I love it. Again, this reminds me of the Monsters tire, though a bit more aggressive. Now I didn't realize this, maybe someone mentioned it, I don't know, but this is a Kenda tire. And the recommended pressure is 33 psi. So that would probably be expected. All the reports are it runs great, and I'm excited to try it. I did want to mention that I measured the tire on the MSP, and so this is advertised as a 20-inch wheel. If this is a 20-inch wheel, the Veteran, then the MSP is a 20-inch wheel. This is 1/4 inch larger in diameter than the MSP tire, same width. So, and I suspect the additional diameter is just because of this incredibly beefy thread. So I love the feel of the shell. It feels very solid. If I press on it, there's just no give. That might be because I'm pressing on the batteries, but everything about this exudes quality in my mind. The quality of the plastic. It's again this Sherman wheel does it in person. It really feels like it's a tank. I wanted to give you a closer look at the clip. Each side panel is attached to the inner shell with the screws, but it's also attached to the framework with 4 of these. I wouldn't say they're clips, but they probably serve more of a function to tie the tubing into the shell rather than the tubing providing support for the shell. And they all look in this condition, which again, I think that tells you a bit of the type of plastic that is used on the shell. The fact that these did not snap off during some of those tumbles from the New York trials. Here's a closer view of the backlight, and you can see it's also mounted on this piece of sheet metal that's welded to the frame. So clearly this frame is, it's just like the shells, right? They're reverse copies of each other, easy for manufacturing. So this is attached to this, and this piece looks like it's bent, probably from that crash too. Not as bad as the headlamp. So again, if you wanted to straighten all this out, you'd have to take this off, probably fix this attachment point, and then have to also unbend this piece a little bit. Here's the charge ports too, which is cool. So I wanted to mention regarding the dual charge ports, I did confirm before I plugged this in, I did measure the voltage, even though I was told they're compatible. So if you have a Gotway 100 volt wheel, you have dual chargers. They're compatible, so that's cool. This is my 3 amp charger for the MSP. The 5 amp charger, so I'll be able to pump 8 amps into this guy and charge up even quicker. So that is cool. Now there's an oddity here, and it's been mentioned before, and I'll have to experiment with this a little bit more, but I had this on a stand. The wheel is actually powered off right now. Well, it's on, but I did a lift test on the stand. So it was on, but not actually running. I plugged the charger in I'm going to top off the battery. As soon as I unplugged the charger, the wheel activated. I mean, it's like it reset and then spun up again. I had to hold on to this for dear life. I'll demonstrate that. This wheel is incredible. Okay, I'm gonna turn this off. I'm gonna turn it on, and you're gonna see it's gonna spin up, but it's not gonna want to stop. Oh man, this thing feels powerful. Okay, so right now I'm going to put some side pads on this. These are new side pads, which are from eWheels. Now, apparently this is going to ship with side pads. And I've heard through the grapevine that those pads are crappy compared to these. Apparently they're stiff. That's all I know. It's secondhand. Well, I guess it's firsthand. The guy who has it actually told me, but we don't have these, and I have these new ones, which Jason eWheels, who by the way is loaning me this wheel. Thank you, Jason, as he does with all my wheels. So that's cool. He had Kingsong make up these pads. They're kind of generic pads. And they feel like the typical Kingsong pads. They're just about right. They're firm, but they have enough give. They're nice. So I'm going to remove this Velcro that Sean left on here. Thanks, Sean. But for now, I'm going to just adhere these on and see how it goes. Play around with it, but I think these pads will probably work. They're nice and thin here, so they won't push out your legs much. So we'll see how that goes. And I'll go over some of the. I'm going to review this LCD panel. And by the way, I have a manual for the Sherman. There'll be a link in the description if you want to read the manual. Unlike all the other manuals, this one actually has some useful information primarily about the LCD, so you can see how you can configure everything. So my testing of this wheel for the next week is definitely going to be more sedate than the New York guys. You know, they're all about high speed, and I'm going to let some high-speed Southern California riders test this a little bit, but I'm not into the high speed. We'll see how I do on this wheel, but you know, typically I just like to limit myself to about 25 miles an hour. You know, I'm more of a trail rider and a range guy. So the first actual test, today's Friday. Tomorrow we're going to do a demo in Southern California at Griffith Park. Let a bunch of people check it out. And Sunday I'm going to do my range test. Probably going to do 2 range tests, but the first one's going to be consistent with all my other range tests. You know, 20 miles an hour, 20 to 22 max speed, and we'll see how I do. So I'm going to take it up in the mountains. I'm going to do a 5,000 foot trail climb. See how that goes on a pretty tough trail, and see what kind of regen I get on the way down. Test out the tire. Yeah, all kinds of good stuff like that. But if you want the real, you know, if you're a speed freak, which I love you guys, but I'm not. You know, there'll be other guys who will be testing that capability. And by the way, I had darkness bought, and I have a build that could connect to the wheel, but it doesn't look like it's functioning. It's giving all kinds of weird numbers. But I'm in contact with the developers, so maybe while I have it, we can make a little progress on that front. But it really does look like you can get everything you need on this front panel. I still think it's kind of cool to be able to look at my Pebble watch and see the speeds and the battery. All right, guys, that's it. Tonight I'm going to take this for a moon ride up into the mountains with some other guys. We're going to go up about 6 o'clock and eat up at a lodge up in the mountains about 6,000 feet up, and then come back down in the dark. It's a nice full moon out. So that should be fun. All right, I will see you soon with more videos.